PNC Park, the place to be on this Sunday. Earlier, fans lining up across the Clemente Bridge to get into the ballpark to see the final regular season home game as the Pirates and Cincinnati Reds wrap up this three-game set. Hi again, everyone, with Bob Walk. I'm Tim Neverett. Robbie Inch-Mikowski joins us in just a little bit. And Bob, to say this is a big game today would be an understatement.
Absolutely huge game. You know, we're still trying to catch those St. Louis Cardinals just a couple games back. We got to win almost every day.
Take a look at the Nissan road ahead for the Cardinals, Pirates, and the Reds. 6 games remaining after today. The Cardinals have 3 at home against Washington, and then they finish up with the Cubs. Pirates will play the Cubs starting with a 3-game set tomorrow, and then the Mets and the Pirates for the Reds as the Bucks finish up against the Reds during the final weekend of the season. Pitching matchup today, a right-hander and a left-hander. Bronson Arroyo going for the Reds, and for the Pirates, it's Jeff Locke in his most important start of the season.
Locke has had a great year, but, man, he's got to be a little nervous right now. You look up there also to see what Arroyo has done. Last 4 starts, he's not having a real great last month of the season. 0-2, 4.56 ERA. I think we're going to get some home runs off of him this afternoon. I think Locke also is going to be good, and he's going to get some run support.
So Bronson Arroyo and Jeff Locke, the pitching matchup this afternoon. There's an epidemic in Pittsburgh. It's known as Bucko Fever. And we've got another one for the fans. The final regular season home game at PNC Park. And the Bucks hoping to send the fans home happy. Lineups and first pitch coming up. Pirates getting set for their home finale at PNC Park, and this place is packed. The North Shore buzzing. It's the final Kids Day of the regular season as this youngster gets a personalized message on a baseball from the manager, Clint Hurdle. And what an afternoon we've got here at PNC Park. The rotunda filled. National League Central Division standings. Pirates 2 back at the Cardinals and 1 ahead of the Cincinnati Reds. Left-hander Jeff Locke has taken the hill. Locke, you said, Bob, most important start of the season. Really, it's the most important start in his life, perhaps, as this is a very important game for the Pirates as they look to take 2 of 3 from Cincinnati. And then heading out on the road for the final 6 games of the regular season after today.
And when your career comes to an end, there's always a half dozen games or so maybe you kind of think back on and you can remember. This could be one of those games for Locke. Touch a nice little conversation out in center field. Got to hold the glove for a while. Pretty special.
And the fans giving the Pirates a standing O all over PNC Park. Jeff Locke, as he gets set. My son watching the Bucs head to the World Series. Let's take a look at Dusty Baker's lineup today. Billy Hamilton makes his 2nd major league start. He is 10 for 10 in stolen bases. He'll be a challenge if he gets on base. Chris Heisey, Joey Votto batting 3rd. Phillips moves back to the cleanup spot today. Jay Bruce batting 5th. Frazier at 3rd base. Then the shortstop Cozart. Ryan Hannigan catching in back-to-back games. And the pitcher Bronson Arroyo will bat 9th against the left-hander Locke.
Arroyo's numbers on the season, or excuse me, Locke. We'll get to Arroyo a little bit. Locke's numbers brought to you by Chevrolet. The walks that's the one stat that he really is going to have to take a little bit of a look at maybe for next year. Work on bringing that down a little bit. 82 in 165 innings, a little higher than he would like.
So Jeff Locke getting set to deliver his first pitch of the ball game. And he watched A.J. Burnett for a bit of a gem last night. 7 innings for A.J., a season high 12 strikeouts. A.J. picked up his 9th win of the year.
Well, he had one of his best curveballs that he's had as a Pittsburgh Pirate. So many just no contact swings last night.
107 pitches for A.J. First time he'd struck out 12 in a game since he was with the Yankees against Texas during the 2009 season. So Hamilton, a switch hitter, batting right-handed against Locke, and we are now underway with strike 1.
Keep this guy off the bases. You can see how special he is with that with 10 for 10.
Barmes gets that throw over there, and there's 1 out.
10 for 10 stealing bases, and you've only had 1 start in the big leagues. It says a little something for you.
It's amazing. Well, defensively for the Bucs, just so Barmes making a play. But we'll start with the outfielders as Jose Taveras back out there in left field today. Andrew McCutchen and Marlon Byrd. Alvarez, Barmes, Walker, and Morneau the infield with Russell Martin behind the plate. Andrew McCutchen looking to get into the offense today. And even though he is 0 for his last 9, he has made contributions. Ended up scoring what would be the game-winning run last night. And this will be the last time the folks will see McCutchen here during the regular season and what could be an MVP campaign for him.
I think it definitely will be.
That's a new sign on the rotunda today. McCutch hoping to have a big final week of the season.
He's got to be the leader right now.
Barmes can't get it. And Heisey aboard, and that ends an 0 for 20 skid for Chris Heisey, the longest 0 for streak of his career.
They pulled it fairly hard right into the hole. Not anything a Locke or Barmes can do about that. Barmes barely ticked that ball, slowed it down a little bit. That's about it.
Reds with a runner aboard. 1 out. The Reds have scored a single run in the first inning in each of the first 2 games of this series. Locke trying to shut him down here at the top of the first as he faces Joey Votto. Votto had the home run Friday night in the 10th inning off Kyle Farnsworth. Went the opposite way. Proved to be the game winner. Hitting .307. And Votto is always on base. National League leader in on base percentage. 2 balls and no strikes to Votto. Votto also leads in walks. He also leads in words spoken. He talks a lot at the plate. He talks a ton at first base. Whoever's down there at first, he enjoys the company. 2 balls and no strikes to Votto. Easy back to the back. Easy with his first start of this series. 2-0 to Votto. 1 out, top of the first inning. It's 3-0.
A lot of times when teams are fighting for playoff spot this time of the year, you see kind of a set type lineup, but that's definitely not the case with these 2 clubs. A lot of interchangeable pieces. Got the middle part, the core is pretty much the same.
And a 4-pitch walk to Votto. And Votto down to first base.
All of those inside pitches just right there on the black, didn't get a call.
Joey Votto has reached base 303 times via hit, a walk, or a hit batsman to lead the majors. And now here's Brandon Phillips. 2 on and 1 out.
That number 2 spot, first couple of games. Now he's cleanup man.
Been the cleanup man for a good part of the season. That's the 101 runs batted in. And along with Jay Bruce, who is on deck. Bruce with 103 runs batted in. Phillips with 101. They're the first set of Reds teammates with 100 RBIs in a season since Johnny Bench and George Foster in 1977. Izzy at second. Votto big lead at first, not being held on, and walks 0-1. Phillips takes ball 1, 1-1.
Another close pitch. Locke doesn't get a call.
Dan Iasonia calling the balls and strikes today. Brian Knight at first, Mark Carlson at second, Jerry Davis, the crew chief, back at third today. Pretty close pitch.
Just got closer.
1-1 is inside, and it's 2-1. And what Jeff Locke can't afford is too many deep counts today. He's going to come after these Reds hitters. Walked Votto on 4 pitches. Now he falls behind Phillips 2-1. His records at home and on the road are equal, 5-3, but his ERA at home is 4.41. Locke trying to be well under that today if he can. Now it's 2-2. On the 21st of July, Jeff Locke's ERA was very low at 2.11. Since then, it's gone up to 3.27. They're trying to finish up strong today. See what happens with this 2-2 pitch to Brandon Phillips. Count is now full, 3-2. Phillips knows Locke has to come with a strike here. Jeff doesn't want to load the bases for this guy. Jay Bruce, since 2010, he leads all major league hitters in home runs off left-handed pitchers.
A rock in a hard place. You don't want to just lay one into that guy.
1 out, and the 3-2 pitch. Runners go, and that is ball 4. And Jeff Locke has loaded the bases in the top of the first. Back-to-back walks to the 3-4 hitters. And Tuesday against the Astros, Jay Bruce also came up with the bases loaded. And at Minute Maid Park, hit it into the Crawford boxes. A grand slam for Jay Bruce. 44 home runs against left-handed pitchers. Next on that list, Albert Pujols with 40, Curtis Granderson and Mark Teixeira with 36 each. That's since 2010. Home runs off lefties. Reds with an opportunity in the top of the first inning. A double play would clean it up. And Bruce gaps this one, and the Reds are going to take the lead. Heisey scores, Votto right behind him. Here comes Phillips. The relay throw is not in time, and a bases clearing double makes it 3-0 Cincinnati.
I thought they really took a chance by trying to score. Phillips there with just one out.
Well, certainly not the start that Jeff Locke had envisioned for today, and the Reds jump on him early.
Got a fastball down and in. He went the other way with it. Trying to stay away from the double play ball, making sure he's not hitting it on the ground, so he goes the other direction. Much easier to hit a fly ball, hit a gap instead. Phillips kind of turned it on there at the end. Of course, an absolute perfect throw right on the plate. That might not have been enough. They still might have had him.
Well, still only one out. And Bruce, with his 42nd double, is at second base. Anytime Phillips is smiling, that usually is bad news for the Pirates. Frazier, a strike, but a wild pitch, and that puts Bruce down to third base.
With one out. I mean, nothing good seems to be happening now. This is the last thing you want to have happen.
This is going to cause the infield to come in with Bruce at third base. Pirates behind the 8 ball early. Only one out in the ball game. And this is going to get another run home. And this is going to get 2 runs home. A home run. It's 5-0.
Well, this is a shame. This huge crowd here on the last day, they're so fired up. And it's a 5-run top of the inning.
Bullpen phone's ringing. There will be action with one out in the top of the first inning as the Reds have jumped all over Jeff Locke, and Frazier with his 18th homer of the year. Zach Cozart tries to bunt his way on. Looks like Junmar Gomez is going to get up. And among all the Pirate fans out there, the one guy, or one of the few with a red game jersey on, caught the ball. Well, think back to the 2nd of June. It was a Sunday. It was here at PNC Park. The Reds jumped all over the Pirates early, 4-0. Pirates would come back and win it in 11 innings. Ground ball slowly hit, charging is Barmes. 2 down.
Hey, you still have 9 innings to hit, but it just puts tremendous pressure now on the Pirate pitching. They have to put up zeros basically for the rest of this ball game.
Ryan Hannigan, the catcher, grounds one toward the middle. Here's Barnes. Doesn't make the play. Walker backs him up. That's too late.
I think that would go as an error.
Well, that kind of play going to his left. Barmes rarely misplays this one.
the end of the bat. It's not hit very hard. About a 4-hopper before it got to Clint. He just doesn't get the glove down far enough.
And it is an error on Barmes. So the 9th man to come to the plate is the pitcher, Bronson Arroyo. And Arroyo gets to come to the plate before he throws a pitch in the game, and he's already leading 5-0. 4 hits and 55 at bats for Arroyo. One ball and 1 strike. In that game we mentioned earlier where the Reds got out to that 4-0 lead on the 2nd of June. Pirates came back to win it. It was Junmar Gomez who started that game, and ironically he is now warming up in the bullpen. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Bob, you also have to think about Jeff Locke's position on the playoff roster if he gets put on the playoff roster, because these late season starts for him have been somewhat of an audition to see which pitchers are going to be on there. He had an all-star first half. Second half hasn't gone his way. 2 strikes on Arroyo.
It's important to get Arroyo here. If he doesn't get Arroyo, then he's going to leave the ball game and not get out of the first inning in one of the most important starts of his young career.
Strikes out Arroyo. 5 runs in, a home run by Frazier and a bases clearing double by Bruce. 5-0 going to the bottom of the first. Giving up 5 runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, back-to-back walks to Joey Votto and Brandon Phillips, contributed to the problem in the top of the first inning. And now the Pirates bats have to get going early in the ballgame. Jose Tabata will lead off. The lineup's brought to you by Toyota. Then Neil Walker and Andrew McCutchen. Justin Morneau hitting cleanup. Marlon Byrd, 13 runs batted in 24 games as a Pirate. Pedro Alvarez, Russell Martin, Clint Barmes bats 8th. And walk spot is 9th. With Bronson Arroyo doing the pitching. Arroyo has given up more home runs than any other Red pitcher in the history of the franchise, 245.
Yeah, look at his numbers on the season. They're not too bad. Have a chance to go over 200 innings again, but he hasn't pitched well of late. So there's a hope that that trend will continue, and you can answer that 5. You're putting up maybe 2 or 3, something like that in these first couple innings. Get back at him a little bit early.
Jose Tabata trying to be the table setter. Clint Hurl was asked about Jose today, saying, is Marte not ready to go, or are you happy with Jose? He said, no, I'm happy with Jose. Jose's been hot. He had 2 more hits last night. Gone 11 for 28 with a double, a triple, 2 homers, and 6 RBIs in his last 9 games on this homestand. He takes strike 1 from Bronson Arroyo. Tabata having a good last month. Getting right around 400 on the homestand. 283 overall in the season. Ball and a strike. Starling Marte, guy we'll probably see in the game at some point. Pinch run, he'll come in for defense. A little bit low, 2 balls and a strike. The Pirates have a bit of a hill to climb early in the ballgame, down 5-0. And the veteran right-hander Bronson Arroyo getting set to deal to Tabata. 2-1 pitch. Count is even.
Slow, sweeping, breaking ball. Bronson does not throw a whole lot of fastballs. I don't watch all the off-speed stuff. He'll throw from different angles. He'll drop down sidearm. There's a fastball.
Right back into the glove of Arroyo. He read the label, then threw it over to Votto. Defensively for the Reds, Chris Heisey, Billy Hamilton, Jay Bruce, Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto. The infield with Ryan Hannigan catching for the 2nd straight game. 2nd major league start for this phenom, Billy Hamilton, who led AAA baseball with 75 stolen bases this year. He's 10 for 10 as a major leaguer this year. And has done some incredible things late in games as a pinch runner. But getting a start today, Shin-Soo Choo has an issue with a thumb, so he didn't start last night. Derek Robinson started in center field. Now Billy Hamilton gets the chance today. 1-0 pitch to Walker. 2 balls and no strikes. Shin-Soo Choo did start on Friday night. .20 pitch. Strike into Walker. Bronson Arroyo, 192 2/3 innings pitched. Chance to get to 200 innings for the 8th time in the last 9 seasons for him. The only time he missed it in the last 9 seasons was 2011. He came an inning short at 199. 2-2 pitch to Walker. 1 out, base is empty. Full count.
Came up as a young Pirate back in Three River Stadium days. Bronson Arroyo. Been around for a long time, 14 years.
Payoff pitch. And Walker rips this one foul. Neal will get another. On the 19th of June, Arroyo pitched against the Pirates and got a win. He was 1-0 against the Bucks this year, but under 500 in 16 prior career starts. 6-7. 3-2.
Won't give in to you, and you think you're in a fastball count, but that's never the case with him. He'll throw any of his pitches on any count. Very confident in being able to throw at least a strike with everything.
Walked it.
For a breaking ball there, full count. Walker able to show the patience and take it inside.
Today's Allegheny Health Network injury update. Shin-Soo Choo missing 2nd straight game. He jammed his thumb on the head-first slide in the 9th inning. It was the same thumb that Choo had surgery on back in 2011. So the Reds being cautious about it. Taking a peek at it there. And it's now caused him to miss 2 straight starts. And Andrew McCutchen at the plate. Hitting .321. Walker at first, 1 out.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, just looking at Marte, running with his oven mitt on and the problems he's had with his hand. Remember a couple of years ago that there was a big call to ban home plate collisions?
Yes. 1-0. 1-1.
And I was thinking that how many guys get hurt sliding head first compared to home plate collisions? It'd be what, 50 to 1?
Yeah, there's more guys sliding head first with no collision. The only contact oftentimes is with the base itself.
But I'm saying it. If you're 50 to 1 guys getting hurt sliding head first, if you're going to ban something, ban head first slides. If you really want to do something that'll help guys, just say, okay, no more. If you slide head first, you're out. Take that. I mean, I'm not for this, but I'm just going along with being politically correct nowadays with all the rule changes. If they want to change something, there's one where a ton of people get hurt year after year after year.
1 ball and 2 strikes. The count to McCutchen. They love Kutch. Everywhere you go, you see number 22 jerseys with McCutchen on the back. See you in October, or Bucktober in this case.
Let's go, Bucks!
McCutchen hanging in there. Kutch on a bit of a skid. He's 0 for his last 9. Hasn't had a hit since his home run against the Padres on Wednesday. He has struggled a little against Arroyo. Just 1 hit in 23 career at-bats against him. 1-2 to McCutchen. Walker off of first. 2-2. Two more McCutchen jerseys. Another one off in the distance down below. You see them everywhere. Went to visit Spring Hill Elementary School on Roberto Clemente Day with the entire team and do a Q&A with the students, Bob. All the questions for McCutchen. He is their favorite. He is this region's favorite.
Face of the franchise.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Bronson Arroyo ready to deal. Hannigan sets up outside. And McCutchen pulls it. Right over by Robbie. Well, Robbie didn't field it cleanly, but he helps the young man get a souvenir. Just checking in, letting everybody know he's okay. Thanks, Robbie. 2-2 to Kutch. Hanging in there again. He fouls it off.
Yeah, you get that early 5-run lead. You want to try to be pretty efficient, not have to throw too many pitches. But McCutchen really making him work. It's up to 22 pitches. Just the 3rd hitter of the game.
This will be the 10th pitch of the at-bat. Popped him up. Frazier under it. That'll be a fair ball. And Kutcher's now 0 for his last 10. 2 men out for the Pirates in the bottom of the 1st. And the Reds with a big top of the 1st inning. Home run by Frazier. Bases clearing double by Jay Bruce. 2 walks. Votto and Phillips got the free passes. And for Jay Bruce, yeah, it's 3 more RBIs to his total. 106 RBIs for Bruce. And Frazier his 18th homer. 2 outs, 1 on. Justin Morneau. Morneau with 17 home runs with the Twins this year. None yet with the Pirates. Arroyo tried the breaking ball and missed. It's 2-0 to Morneau. Andrew McCutchen scuffling at the plate, and even though he's been scuffling, he gets on base via walk or some other means. He does contribute. But as far as the RBIs and the base hits in the last few games, he hasn't had a hit since Wednesday. 3-0 to Morneau. And Arroyo looked like he didn't want any part of Morneau. Walked him on 4 pitches. The 2 walks in the inning. Let's take a look at the Barrel Automotive League leaders stat. Pitches per inning. Bronson Arroyo, top of the list, and he's got 27 pitches already this inning. Gordon Zimmerman of Washington and Clayton Kershaw and Adam Wainwright next on the list. Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better.
Well, that was absolutely ridiculous what he just did with Morneau. It doesn't matter what, if he's scared, terrified of him. You can't throw 4 wide ones to him. It's 5-0. You throw it right down the middle to him. Let him hit it onto the other side of the Allegheny. Who cares? You don't walk people on 4 pitches with a 5-0 lead.
That's what he did, and now 2 on for Bird with 2 outs. Gives Bird more RBI opportunity. Strike to Marlon Bird. Bird drove in the game-winning run last night with a sacrifice fly in the 6th inning. Got McCutchen home. Also had a base hit.
He definitely is out of sorts right now. Having a tough time throwing the ball where he wants to. Absolutely not like Arroyo normally is.
Bird takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Not a ton on that. 86 miles an hour.
He's taken in 27 pitches to go through the first 4 hitters of the game.
No balls, 2 strikes to Marlon Bird. And Bird fouls it off. That was the 30th pitch of the inning. Well, the Pirates working the pitch count up, but then down on the scoreboard 5-0 early. Andrew McCutchen had a long at bat. Double-digit pitches. 1-2 to Marlon.
And Dust is, he's over there not in a good mood right now. The things that he's probably thinking of about his veteran right-hander right now. What are you doing?
Bird fights that one off. Hannigan set up outside. Ball did not hit the spot. Came inside.
Well, the real red flag was those 4 straight pitches to Morneau were outside. Yeah, if Morneau his run meant something in this inning. You could see him being very careful with him, but not now. So that had to tell Dusty, hey, he's not right. And before that at bat, you could just think, well, okay, he really had a battle with McCutchen, all those foul balls. You can understand that happens. Sometimes you can't put a guy away. But then the Morneau at bat, that immediately is with somebody that's like Arroyo, who has to throw strikes.
Arroyo with a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Marlon Bird. Walker at second, Morneau at first. We're in the bottom of the first. 5-0 Cincinnati. Now Marlon steps up. Bird to right field, and Bruce going back. Jay Bruce makes the catch on the track in front of the Clemente wall. Pirates strand 2. We'll go to the second. 5-0 Cincinnati.
Second inning, I'm Robbie and Smikowski. He's a hired threat, a September call-up, who's had a major impact for this Reds team down the playoff run. And Jeff Bannister, Pirates bench coach responsible for defending the running game, talks about defending Hamilton on the base paths.
Guys like him that like to extend their lead, they continue to extend their lead. We've got to hold the ball on. We've got to give them different looks. We can't have the same cadence every time from our pitching staff going home. We've got to create a situation where we get him to shorten his lead, or we don't allow him to get the lead he likes to take off from, and then rely on number 55 behind the plate, giving his normal throw to second base.
You know, it's going to be an interesting matchup should this guy get on base again and have the opportunity. Tim, we're talking about a guy who stole a base on a pitch out in the series against Houston before the Reds came here. And Russell Martin, he obviously stole a base on Russell a couple games ago. But it's going to be interesting with Martin leading the league in caught stealings defensively amongst catchers. And a guy like Billy Hamilton is clearly brought in for a reason. And he knows his role, and he does it pretty darn good.
Yeah, starting today, but as a pinch runner, Hamilton is the only player in the live ball era to record 2 stolen bases and score 2 runs in his first 2 career appearances without having a plate appearance. Junmar Gomez in the second inning takes over for Jeff Locke. Locke, just an inning, 5 earned runs.
Gomez has been in this spot before and pitched very well. It's kind of one of the unsung heroes of this season.
And Hamilton places the bunt right there, and that's a base hit. That's what speed will do. And now we'll see how long it takes him before he goes to second. The other night when he reached first base, the Pirates did not throw over to first. They pitched, and Hamilton stole on the first pitch.
And there it is, and no chance. Now, the other night there were no step offs, no pickoff throws, no pitch outs, no anything, and it was no contest. He was at second. Just one pitch.
There's the throw over, and Hamilton back. And Hamilton represented the tying run in that game Friday night, and he got to second base and then used his speed to score on an infield hit off the glove of Pedro Alvarez to tie it and send it to extra innings. Heisey at the plate. Hamilton again at first base. 10 for 10 in stolen bases. 75 in AAA. It was the highest total in the International League since Otis Nixon had 94 in 1983 with Columbus. No balls, 1 strike to Heisey. Heisey had a base hit, scored in the first inning. Talked to Clint Hurdle Friday about Hamilton if he were to be used in a late inning pinch hitting situation Friday. He said that the Indianapolis Indians, Pirates AAA team, had a fairly successful plan against him, and they would employ that here. They've prepared for him. There he goes. Martin's throw down. Not in time, and Billy Hamilton is 11 for 11.
You know, I thought I wanted to wait till I saw the replay, but I think if the throw would have been over on the first base side of the bag, I think they might have had him out. The throw was just too wide on the shortstop side.
He may not stop at second. Well, the bunt, foul. It's 1 and 2 to Heisey.
A guy like Hamilton, everything has to be perfect. You got to do your job as the pitcher, get the ball to the plate as quick as you can, and then the throw has to be on target, even if it's off a little bit. The speed guys will use that to get in there. Hamilton very successful with that extremely dangerous head-first slide. I'm just being sarcastic. Nothing.
I got it. 1-2. That's outside. Two balls, 2 strikes to Heisey. Hamilton at second. And this looks like it'll get Hamilton home easily. 6-0 Cincinnati. Heisey going to second. He's safe with a double.
Slider right on the outside part of the plate's not a bad spot. Heisey, who was in that long stretch without a hit, 2 for 2.
He was 0 for 20. He was 2 for 2 today. Here's Joey Votto. So Gomez has given up 2 hits, a bunt single, and now a double that scored a run. A 6-0 Cincinnati lead. Two balls and no strikes to Votto. Votto walked in the first. Came home on Bruce's double. And a strike to Votto.
Votto very patient even on 2-0 counts, 3-1. He's not going to get himself out by swinging at something that's not exactly where he wants. One of the reasons he gets all those base on balls.
That is career hit number 995 for Joey Votto. 3 straight hits off Junmar Gomez. Locke didn't do very well in the first. He gave up 5 runs on 3 hits, and Gomez comes out of the pen. He's given up 3 straight hits and a run so far, and has yet to record an out.
Starting to hear some unhappy fans. Not the day they were wanting.
Phillips walked and scored in the first. And he hits one high to center field. McCutchen going back. He's at the track and makes the catch. Another run's going to score. Here comes Heisey. Sacrifice fly for Phillips. It's 7-0 Cincinnati. It's a funny game, Bob. One night you can play lights out. You can play very well. The next, you get a game like this.
Well, the game of baseball is all about the pitching. Normally, the starting pitching, and that's really evident looking at the first two games of this series. The two dominant starts by Liriano and Burnett.
Jay Bruce to left field. Tabata will gather this one in for the out.
But today it just got away from Locke in that first inning, and it's gotten no better now with Gomez, really. AJ looking on. And just phenomenal work that he did in yesterday's game. Now that's one of the things that you mentioned yesterday on the radio. Things are really on the line. Those star players, guys like AJ, that been around a long time, that they usually step up and do the great job for you. And AJ did that. He's a star player, and he was shining.
The guy next to him, a star in the making, Garrett Cole. And Brandon Compton getting up. Swing and a miss. Second pitcher up in the bullpen, and it's just the second inning. Frazier homered his first time up. No balls, 2 strikes to Frazier. Well, the Pirates woke up this morning. I don't think they saw this.
I'm sure after last night's game, everybody very pumped up in the clubhouse before the game. They won't quit fighting. There's still so much baseball, so many innings left. You still have to keep plugging away.
I mean, this game is such a roller coaster. The highs on Friday night and then the lows of the disappointment of the loss in extra innings, how it got away. And then last night, a solid victory. And today, early, down by a touchdown. Two outs, one on. 1-2 pitch from Gomez. And a stop by Barmes. Terrific play by Clint Barmes to get the force at second. Votto forced out as Barmes laid out to make that play. 2 more runs come in for Cincinnati. Start at Nationals Park for the second game of the split doubleheader. They waited as long as they could last night and eventually had to postpone it. Its magic number right now sits at 3. It could go down to 2 if Miami hangs on in the first game and beats Washington. And if the Pirates somehow come back here today and Washington loses, the magic number could go down to as low as 1.
Could go as low as 3.
With Washington.
I mean, as low as 0.
Yeah, and if Washington is swept today, Pirates would clinch on the road sometime and find out about it in a hotel. Pedro to the gap in left center field. He's got a leadoff single.
Definitely make this big crowd's memory of this year more special than it already is. Cap off a 50, well, it would be a 51-win season here at home, where they just an incredible comeback win if they were able to pull this off.
We get the first one first, and Alvarez is on base with nobody out. Russell Martin had a home run on his first at bat in last night's game. Takes ball 1. .230 on the season. In his first at bat during the season, his batting average is .292. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, you'd think there's a decent combination for the Pirates to get some runs here today, Bob, with Bronson Arroyo giving up a lot of home runs, 25 on the year. The Pirates a home run hitting team. Ball and 2 strikes. .15 home runs on the year for Russell Martin. Last Pirates catcher to have 15 in a year, Ryan Doumit, in 2008. 2 balls, 2 strikes. One came in just outside to Russ. Pirates have done well against their own division this year. 11 games over 500 against the Central at 40 and 29. And Martin goes down on strikes. 1 out. But Barmas coming up, and what a play he made on Todd Frazier. He laid out for a ball in the hole and got up, made the throw to second base, and Votto didn't think Barmas had a prayer. Never slid, just too late to the bag, and a little stretch by Walker ended up making sure that forced play happened. But good play by Barmas. Curveball for a strike.
Awesome. Just flip some curveballs in there. Change speeds with them a little bit. Change the way they break. Throw some flatter ones. You see that last one a little flatter than the strike 1 pitch was. Threw that one a little bit harder. Put the spin on it a little more from the side.
Royals 1-1 pitch. Just inside. Again, you saw Hannigan set up outside. He had to reach back in to make the grab. Wants it outside this time. And Barmas up the middle, of base hit.
Now that one ended up right down the middle and high.
And the Pirates needed to keep taking advantage of Arroyo missing his spots.
Yeah, he's just not that, he's being a little wild at times. And even when he's throwing a strike, it's not really where he wanted it. Fastball 88, just right down the middle. Definitely the way he is pitching with this big lead warrants a discussion. You would have thought in between innings they had a long talk about working ahead and throwing strikes, trying to get your pitch count back under control. But it might not be anything that Arroyo can really help right now. He probably is trying to throw the ball over the plate with consistency, but it's just hit or miss with it. This is when it's supposed to be the easiest time to pitch, with a big lead, where you don't have to worry about making perfect pitches, staying on the edges. You get ahead in the count, then you try to throw a couple on the edge, but then most of the time it's just make them put the ball in play.
Andrew Lambeau takes high for a ball. Lambeau hitting for Gomez. Pittsburgh's minor league player of the year, led all Pirates farmhands in home runs and RBIs. 32 homers in the minors, 99 RBIs. No major league home runs yet. 2 balls and no strikes to Lambeau. Brandon Compton working in the Pirates pen. He'll come out and pitch the 3rd inning. Gomez just gets 1 inning, gives up 2 earned runs on 3 hits.
One thing that has taken place here for everybody that's been out on the mound, Locke, Arroyo, Gomez, they're not getting too many borderline pitches called strikes. The edge pitches, for the most part, have gone the way of the hitters. That happened to Locke, and it's happened a few times to Royal. Royal's really trying to battle that.
2-1 coming to Lambeau. Runners off first and second, 1 out. Two. Andrew Lambeau this year's made 6 starts in right field. He hasn't started since the 27th of August, however. Alvarez off of second base. Barmes, big lead at first, not being held on. Lambeau stepping in, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three balls, 2 strikes.
Another one of those borderline pitches. That one definitely looked like it was maybe an inch or so inside, but this has kind of been a theme that the pitchers, whether they're wearing the black hat or the red hat, have had to deal with. It's not a real wide strike zone this afternoon. Which is, it's just kind of the way it is. Sometimes it goes the hitter's way, sometimes it goes the pitcher's way. I'm not saying good or bad, it's just a hitter's strike zone early in this game.
Lambeau strikes out.
One of those mini curveballs that Arroyo throws. And that one he put a little bit more on. You see a lot of them down in the very low 70s, actually at 70, 71. That one he tried to get a little more snap on, more of a strikeout type pitch, and that's what he got, the strikeout. Compare that to AJ's curveball. AJ's curveball is a little smaller, shorter, but he throws it much harder. 84, sometimes 85 mile an hour. And that'll really make that break sharp when you throw it that hard. And that's why he gets so many swings and misses.
AJ had a bunch of swings and misses last night. 1-0 to Tabata. Ball and a strike to Jose. Jose's 0 for 1. He bounced back to Arroyo in the first. Five-run first inning off of Jeff Locke. 2 more runs off Janmar Gomez in the second. 7-0 Cincinnati. And Tabata now down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Austin Martin and Hurdle. bit of a chat.
Get some kind of handle on what's happening up there. Maybe it could be talking about the strike zone. Depends on what that's about.
What kind of challenge is it for a catcher when you're going to have your third pitcher out there in 3 innings?
The challenge is, you know, you're going to be catching a lot of pitches today. That's one of those bad signs. You know, not too many balls have hit your glove.
Arroyo strikes out the side. Pirates get 2 hits, leave both men. We'll go to the third. Reds 7, Pirates nothing. Certainly one of the greats, and the last to wear number 42, Mariano Rivera.
Just an amazing career, and he always seemed to do it with style and grace.
Well, it's been an awesome season, and everybody wants him to finish this, as the Pirates are trailing 7-0 to start the third inning. It's been a great season, and there's been a lot of great moments here at PNC Park. You want to send us via Twitter at the hashtag BucksBooth what is or what was your favorite moment this year at PNC Park. Numbers on Compton.
Compton not seeing a whole lot of action. You know, one of the exciting moments, though, was the Compton start this year and the way he began things. We were talking about that before the game started this afternoon. Was it the first four guys he faced?
Struck out 5 of the first 6. Dodgers in his major league debut. Struck out the side, that struck out the next guy, and his first pitch goes to the backstop to Zach Cozart, 1-0. So now it's up to Brandon Compton. See if he can settle down the Reds and hang a 0 up. 2-0. Now maybe the last time you see something like this with 3 pitchers in 3 innings, it's the first spring training game, where sometimes you'll see them throw out their 7 or 8 pitchers, throw an inning each. Of course, that has no ramifications on anything. This game certainly does. And a strike to Cozart, so now Compton's found the strike zone. Today is
Fall is on its way.
It's the first day of fall today.
Oh, I can't wait till the leaves start falling all over the yard. Isn't that one of your favorite times?
The falling is okay. The picking them up is a different story. To right field on a base hit. And here we go again. This day in Pirates history, 1991, Three River Stadium. The Pirates clinched their second straight NL East Division title with a 2-1 win over the Phillies. Doug Drabek went the distance, striking out Charlie Hayes to end it after allowing 1 run on 7 hits for his 15th victory. It was the Bucs' 91st win of the season. They were 13.5 games up on the Cardinals. The Day Automotive. We're going to make your day.
That's easing in, 13.5.
Yeah, you were pretty comfortable then. Leadoff single for Cozart, and now Hannigan.
90. Doug was out there at the end for that one. 91. There again. That's one thing about baseball I miss. I miss the complete games, you know, seeing those guys out there in the 9th inning.
It seems today, Bob, that if you go out and pitch 7 innings, that's kind of like the new complete game.
Yeah, I agree. It's just not in the cards anymore. It doesn't happen.
Mariano went 8 the other night. Fly ball to center field. 1 out. And Steve Blass was the guy who put a ton of complete games up there. And Steve will often talk about it. I'm sure it was the same with you, Bob, when you prepared to pitch. Back in the day,
for 7.
You prepared for 7?
Yeah, 7 was my complete game.
He prepared for 9. And the pitch to Arroyo was a strike.
If I was on the road, I would prepare for 6 because I know I was going to get pinch hit for it before I got to 7.
Bronson Arroyo this year has 2 complete games. He's got 1 shutout. Oh, 1. Bunts it right back toward the mound. Compton will have play at first. Walker covering. 2 men out and a runner at second base. Let's go downstairs next to the dugout and check in with Robbie.
Well, guys, you're talking about peak pitchers throwing complete game gems in the playoffs. That's Sean Casey right there. He's a member of the Reds Hall of Fame, but he's from Upper St. Clair. Played for the Pittsburgh Pirates for a brief time. When he was a freshman at the University of Richmond, he drove up with no money to watch this game, a Bob Walk complete game in Game 5 of the NLCS. He was a freshman. Him and his buddy Jay Adams, they made the trip up specifically to do this. They only had money to afford standing room only tickets, so he bought them just to come to watch that playoff game at Three Rivers Stadium, Bob. I don't know if you know that, but Sean Casey is a huge fan of yours. He's a little bit twisted right now. He's broadcasting for the Cincinnati Reds telecast while he's here. But, Bob, you have a fan a couple booths over.
I'm going to give him a hug right now. I think. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah, but now you know the rest of the story. Bob only prepared for 7 innings.
Yeah, that was overtime.
Yeah.
But,
I know you were supposed to.
You know, Sean has a long history with the Reds. But, you know, I guarantee he is so torn right now. He's a Pirate guy at heart.
Well, today, Sean stopped me in the hall. We had a tour group of Pirates fans he was bringing around from the Miracle League that he started in the South Hills. And he does a lot. He made an appearance for the Pirates the other night out on Federal Street. He's kind of torn between the two because grew up here, loves it here. And,
hit the first home run ever in this ballpark.
Yes, he did.
That's one of the things he's very proud of.
2 outs. Billy Hamilton at the plate. And this probably going to be a base hit. It is. And Hamilton is 2 for 3. A swinging bunt this time for Hamilton.
It's almost like if he puts the ball in play, it's a hit.
You can't throw him out. It's amazing.
He definitely fly down that line. He just kind of slapping the ball. Once it gets the first couple of steps, the way the ball is just barely rolling out toward third base. Right about now, you know, it's a hit.
I have not seen speed like this in a long time in baseball. Guys who can run. Boy, can this kid run. In the air down the right field line. Long run for Marlon Byrd. And Bird's going to catch it and foul ground. And that is out number 3, Marlon.
Still a strong throw to the plate.
Yep. Way to get the ball in. Brandon Compton hangs a 0.
Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And buy PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks!
A.J. Burnett, a tremendous start last night. Pirates needed a win. He helped them get there with 7 strong innings and 12 strikeouts. Pirates a long way to go as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Down 7-zip. Neil Walker, Andrew McCutchen, Justin Morneau. Strike to Walker. Neil walked in his first plate appearance today. And Neil hammers it to right field. This one back, this one gone. Home run for the Pittsburgh Kid. And the Pirates on the board, and it is 7-1.
Oh, that was an absolute bullet he had out of here. Oh, it looked like it had a little tail on it. Came back right to the head of the bat.
Neil Walker's gone deep now in 3 of his last 4 games.
Oh, tail right back into the sweet spot. Started off inside. Oh, gotta believe Walker kind of looking for something like that. Neil really coming up pretty big here. Big series.
Pirates are 9-3 when he goes deep in a game. McCutchen takes a strike. Kutch 0 for his last 10. And McCutchen a ground ball. And Cozart throws him out. Good scoop by Votto.
A nice little stretch back toward the home plate side by Votto.
So 1 out. Pirates got the first one. Now it's a 6-run game. Just behind Ian Kennedy of San Diego. Kennedy gave up his last few here in Pittsburgh.
Hey, look at the ballparks that those guys play in. Kennedy, most of his home runs were in Arizona, which is a home run ballpark. But that has such an effect on what your total is. You do all your home games in those smaller ballparks where they give up all the home runs. That's just something you're going to have to live with, the long ball. And you got to try and make them solo shots.
The Pirates waiting for Morneau to get hot. He's got just the one RBI, breaks his bat, rolls it to the right side. Votto tossed to Arroyo, 2 down. MLB.com at bat is celebrating 5 years as your #1 mobile app for live baseball, available for iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10 and Windows Phone 8. At bat delivers Pirates baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, highlights, and much more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Pirates.com for details. Lots of Jolly Rogers. They're all over the place. It's been a symbol this year. It's been a terrific part of this great environment. Strike 1 to Bird. 2 down, 1 in on the home run by Walker. And Greg Brown at the end of this game, if he says raise the Jolly Roger, you know the Pirates have had a good second half of this game. Bird fouls it down third. Greg first started saying that Pirates weren't winning a lot of games, so wasn't getting a lot of attention, but last couple of years it's really taken off, and folks who have responded, they've responded all over the place, not just here at the ballpark. And Bird is out. Pirates get a run. Neil Walker going deep for the 13th time this season, his 50th RBI. Clearing the Clemente wall and getting the Pirates on the board.
The all-new Levin mattress stores. For a great deal on a new bed, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
Catch all the action of the 2013 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox, TBS, and MLB Network starting October 1st. Well, that sign, Bob. I traded my wife for playoff tickets.
I wonder where the seats are.
So many things you could say right there. Franco Harris is here.
He's got a long day ahead of him. Afternoon, PNC. I'm imagining he'll be over at Hines later on this evening.
He's looking for an immaculate comeback here this afternoon. Joey Votto 1 for 1 with a walk. It's a foul ball.
They're the best in baseball. Not
solid defense.
Nobody else even close. That was a hard hit ground ball. They can pick it.
Take a look at the ticker down below. The AT&T tweets coming in as fans tweeting in their favorite moments at PNC Park. 0-2. That's up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Votto. Cole's debut. One of them. Travis Snider's pinch hit grand slam against the Cubs. It's a pretty good one. G.I. Jones river ball to tie it. And Snider's walk-off. It was against the Reds. That one that he hit directly into the river. Doubleheader sweep of the Cardinals. A 5-game series. Pirates won the first 4.
Kind of like that river ball a little bit. Something you don't see every day.
Mid-May, Andrew McCutchen's walk-off homer in the 12th off Mike Fiers against the Brewers pretty good. He was the first batter that inning. So McCutchen giving us certainly one of the good moments.
That guy right there, Russell Martin, he had a number of late inning heroics, especially earlier in this year. Seemed like he was always getting the pie in the face.
Strike 3 called. Compton got him, and Votto down looking. Took a little work, but Compton finally earned the strikeout.
Got one of those edge strikes. Votto, he wasn't even waiting for the call. He realized it. Look at him turning. He was heading back to the dugout. Called it on himself.
Brandon Phillips. Sacrifice fly and an RBI in the second inning. His 102nd RBI of the year. Walked and scored in the first.
Not getting booed much this afternoon. First 2 nights, every time he came to the plate.
A little raining boos on him. To the far end of the Reds dugout on the first base side, foul, and it's 0-2. So Compton getting ahead of Phillips. The Reds take off from here, and then they get set to play the Mets. Mets for 3, and then the Pirates for 3 next weekend. And a base hit for Phillips. That's the 9th hit for the Reds this afternoon. Compton will now face Jay Bruce. Bruce with a bases clearing double in the first inning.
That was the big blow of the afternoon. He put that ball into left center. He was trying to go the other way, make sure he didn't roll over on something, hit a ground ball. He didn't want to hit into a double play. He came through big time. That got the ball rolling.
Pirates have shifted for Bruce defensively. Alvarez over on the shortstop spot. Barmas up the middle. Morneau holding on Phillips with 1 out. 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Majority of his hits going to right and center. Here's the 1-1 from Compton. He'll throw to first, and Phillips back.
What a good seats, aren't they? Look how close you are.
See Brandon Compton's move to first. And a strike to Bruce, and it's 1-2.
Another one of those close ones to strike. Starting to loosen up a little bit.
1 out, 1 on, 1-2 pitch. Strike 3. Got him on the inside corner. Second strikeout looking this inning of a left-hander. Got Votto. Now he gets Bruce. And there are 2 men out in the Reds' fourth.
Definitely getting some of these edge strikes. We saw the fastball on the inside corner called strike 3 to Votto. You know, almost the same pitch. That one was on the edge, but it really did have a good piece of home plate.
Well, that was the word on Compton when he first came up to the Pirates, was that he will throw inside, and he's good at catching the corners. Gets one there on Frazier. Ray Sears has had a lot of arms to work with this year. And unfortunately for him, the third one already today. Locke starting, only won an inning, gave up 5 runs. Gomez won an inning, gave up 2 runs. Brandon Compton getting the call for the first time in a while. To Barmes. Will flip to Walker. They get the force of Phillips. Good inning. Just the 1 hit and 1 left. To the bottom of the fourth we go. 7-1 Reds. As we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Football season here. You can get the latest on your favorite teams during Press Conference Tuesday on Root Sports. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin takes the podium first, live at noon, followed by Pitt's Paul Chryst at 1 and WVU head coach Dana Holgorsen at 1:30. Press Conference Tuesday. Tuesday starting at noon on Root Sports. Pedro Alvarez to lead off the bottom of the fourth. He's 1 for 1. Facing Bronson Arroyo. Takes down low. Arroyo working particularly slow today compared to what he normally does, and we understand he has been feeling a little ill this week. And a strike to Pedro, 1-1.
He might just try to get through 5. Could be it for him. He's really not feeling well.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Certainly hasn't pitched like himself as far as aggressiveness and going after the hitters, especially those first couple innings.
Well, think about the first inning. A 33 pitch first inning, didn't give up a hit or a run, but still managed to throw 33 pitches. Walked 2 men. .70 pitches total for Bronson Arroyo. 2-2 to Pedro. And Pedro down to first. Hot shot fielded by Votto. Steps on the bag for the out. So one man out. Let's check in with Robbie.
Well, guys, Russell Martin coming to bat. You know, he's from Montreal, still maintains a home there in Major League Baseball. When the schedules came out for 2014, it includes a preseason battle, exhibition games going to take place between the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Mets in Montreal. Got some Expos fans here at PNC Park today. And Russell, when I asked him about it, or she actually told him about it, he didn't know. His response had one word: sick. That's exactly what he said. So he was pretty fired up that baseball was going back there. If you remember, Tim, Ken Dryden was here. He's a big baseball fan. He used to watch games at the Big O, the old Olympic Stadium where they're going to play these games. He said the biggest thing I remember is how far everybody was. Everybody was equal distance from the field, and that was part of the undoing of baseball in Montreal, was just how far and disconnected the fans felt there. But nonetheless, it's going to return for a couple games in 2014.
And neat to see the old Expos unis.
Good call out.
Expos are now the Washington Nationals. And they used to do a nice thing for you when you pitched there and threw to first, didn't they, Bob? 0-1, 0-2 pitches up high.
I think that was for everybody.
Did they do it for everybody?
Oh yeah, that was a little trick that they did. But Robbie definitely was right about that ballpark. It wasn't a baseball stadium by any stretch of the imagination. It was built for the Olympics.
Cozart throws out Martin.
And if baseball was to ever get back to Montreal, which I don't think that anybody's really talking about, that it has to have a baseball stadium up there. Their own ballpark that doesn't have anything to do with that huge concrete, whatever word you want to put it. It's not a pretty sight at all. It's very cold looking, and it was not comfortable. It seemed like the turf in that place was always wet. Just the sun. Very difficult to ever get any sun shining in there because of the hangover that they would have all the way around. It was always supposed to have a retractable roof on it that they never did get working correctly.
Pop back of the plate by Barmes, and Hannigan will handle it. Pirates go quietly in the fourth. 1-2-3. Head to the fifth at PNC Park. It's a 7-1 game in favor of Cincinnati.
By Kia. To learn more, visit pghkiadealers.com. By Subway, where winners eat fresh. And by Day Automotive, we're gonna make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Well, last night at the end of the game, it was grilled cheese time for the first time in a while. First save since July 21st. 31 on the year now for Grilly. Ian Melanson comparing notes in the bullpen right now.
Nice easy one last night also. There was a little off the end of the bat single, but then a couple of routine ground balls cleaning that up and the game was over.
Russell Martin out of the ball game now. John Buck in to catch Compton with Zach Cozart at the plate. The strike is delivered. Cozart pops this one up. John Buck right in the game makes the catch. And there's one down for Cincinnati in the fifth.
Yeah, early in the game, I think it was last inning, we saw Russell Martin take one off the hand. He's messing with his thumb. I hope he's nothing wrong. That's a big catcher, isn't it? Look how big he is. Oh.
I got him on the elbow. At least that one we saw. Here's Ryan Hannigan. Takes a strike. Catcher's 0 for 2. Reached on an error in the first inning and then flying to center in the third. Compton's pitch. Fouled out of play to the right, 0 2. Pirates were challenged right out of the gate as the Reds put 5 up on 3 hits. Frazier had a home run in the first inning. Bruce a bases clearing double. Jeff Locke had walked 2. And a ground ball to second. Walker throws out Hannigan. 2 gone. This is the first inning this entire game where the Pirates have had 2 consecutive outs to start an inning. Got a chance for a clean inning here with Bronson Arroyo at the plate.
Still time left. 6 runs, but Pirates have been able to put a couple of zeros up, and looks like a good chance of putting up 3 in a row now. Got to start chipping away.
Compton's 0-1. Now it's 0-2. Compton's been able to get ahead of the hitters. It certainly works to his advantage.
He's been able to get a few more strikes, I think, called on the edges of the strike zone. Guys earlier in the game were.
Off speed pitch fouled off. Now stays 0-2 to Arroyo.
I think if Arroyo was really sick, he would have go up there and just strike out and go back. Looks like he's choking up. He was trying to battle.
And he does strike out for the second time in the first clean inning pitched this afternoon by a Pirates hurler.
and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
(7-1) Cincinnati. Pirate half of the 5th inning. That's Kayaks out there waiting for a ball. Maybe they'll get one today. Some Chicago Bears fans in town. This is a doubleheader on the North Shore today. Pirates and Reds right now, and tonight Bears and Steelers on the other side of the parking lot. Travis Snyder takes strike one. Pinch hitting for Brandon Compton. He has 2 home runs. They both helped to win games as a pinch hitter. Grand slam against the Cubs. And also another against Milwaukee. Hits this one deep to center field. Hamilton backing up. He looks up. That's in the bushes. The 3rd pinch hit home run of the season for Travis Snyder. And it's 7-2.
They got to chip away. You'd like someone to hit one out of here with a couple of guys on base. Really take a nice chunk out, but even that solo home run, that keeps the line moving a little bit. Everybody gets up, high fives, you start getting a little hope, thinking, hey, we can do this. And also, I think Compton going out there and doing what he was able to do, big part of getting a little enthusiasm back in the crowd, back in that dugout.
Arroyo could do his watch. He is now tied with Ian Kennedy for the league lead in home runs given up.
Same pitch as the other one that left the ballpark. The ball kind of ran back toward the center of the plate.
And Tabata will head down to first base, hit by a pitch. Second Pirate to be hit by a pitch in this series.
Right on that little elbow guard Tabata wears. You would think just about everybody should have one of those on nowadays. They're so small and light now that I don't think it would bother your swing at all.
Walker takes low.
When they first started wearing those 25 years ago, it's like some guys looked like they had a suit of armor on. They were so big and bulky.
Well, it made it easier for them to stick an elbow out, too.
Yeah, that's true.
They weren't as afraid to get hit. Walker fouls it off. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think Major League Baseball stepped in and some guidelines on how big those guards could be.
So right-hander Alfredo Simon loosening up for Cincinnati now. Pirates batting in their half of the 5th. Pinch hit home run by Snyder to lead off the inning. It's now a 5-run ball game with Tabata at first base and nobody out. And Walker to right field. That's going to go to the corner. Tabata will head for third. And Jose Tabata will be held there. A double for Neil Walker.
Now's the time you want that crooked number put up there. Perfect situation for McCutcheon to really get a breakthrough hit. Second, third, nobody out. Walker has the bat is really coming alive against this red team.
Good time of the year for it. All parts of the ballpark. The Jolly Roger flags are waving. Pirates fans believe.
Base hit away from 7-4 ball game.
Double number 24 for Walker. He is 2 for 2 today. Reached base 3 times. And now McCutcheon. He is due. Strike 1. Balls and 1 strike to Andrew McCutcheon.
I just thought that ball was going to be a little higher than that.
McCutcheon takes another strike, another breaking ball from Arroyo. Arroyo ahead of him, 0-2. McCutcheon 1 for 25 in his career against Bronson Arroyo. Average has dipped down to 320. Oh-2 popped up. And Kutch in a slump. He's 0 for 12.
And that ball well out of the strike zone. Chased after. There wasn't much he could do with that one. It was so far outside. Sweeping breaking ball and just got it right on the end of the bat.
Top of the runner at third base, Walker at second. And Manny Parra, the lefty, has joined Alfredo Simon in the Cincinnati bullpen. Justin Morneau fouls it off to the left. And just 1 run batted in since joining the Pirates. And he's got runners at second and third with 1 out here. And again, a long series of signs. Now Arroyo's pitch. 1-1. Over in Washington, the Nationals put 2 runs up, but Miami's added onto that lead. It's now 4-2 Marlins. Pimentel and Vin Mazzaro, pair of right-handers going. So double barrel action in both bullpens. And this one to right field. Tabata will tag. He's going to score. Morneau drives in his second run as a buck. It's now 7-3.
Boy, he hit that one well. With a line drive. It could have been much more than that. They liked it in Canada. Went right down on that breaking ball and right on the screws. That would have been a nice one to be a little further left or right. Gap shot.
Pirates bit by bit chipping away at this lead. Now they'd like to get Walker home with 2 outs. Marlon Byrd 0 for 2. And Byrd in the air to right. Got under it. And Pierce makes the catch. So Pirates end up with 2 runs. Travis Snyder a pinch hit home run. And Morneau a sacrifice fly. 7-3 after 5.
All 4 pierogies tied at 1. We had or tied at 20, I should say. Came down to this final race. Total shenanigans. Jalapeno Hannon, Oliver Onion going at one another, and they both are going to blow a tire in this situation. It came down to sauerkraut Saul and cheese Chester. And watch this finish. It's a photo finish down to the end. And I believe it is cheese Chester in a photo finish. Comes away victorious in the 2013 pierogi race here at PNC Park. It was a lot of fun and a lot of high fives all around. Well, Stolmy Pimentel is now entering the game to pitch for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and every time he has entered a ball game ever since he was in the minor leagues, he goes to a prayer routine that he does every time he gets out to the mound. This is the first thing he does. First thing he does is say thank you for putting me in this position. The second thing is please keep me safe throughout my time pitching today and let me be effective. It's like a 3-step routine that he has, Tim and Bob, every time that he enters a ball game before he takes his pregame warm-ups, and he does it every inning as well when he takes to the mound. So we've seen a lot of rituals. We see Jason Grilli writing the 4 sets of initials and the sign of a cross every time he enters a ball game. That just happens to be Pimentel's routine.
Do you have a routine, Bob?
I always said, please don't let me walk the ballpark.
That was probably,
and I'm serious about that.
Advice to yourself.
That's what I was always worried about. I would come walking in thinking, okay, just throw strikes.
Stolmy Pimentel, his 4th appearance as a major leaguer. And he faces the top of the order, Billy Hamilton, Chris Heisey, Joey Votto in the top of the 6th. Pirates closing the gap a little bit on the Reds, 7-3 now.
Yeah, I think that was a very good sign with Cheese winning that.
Yeah.
We have the grilled cheese sitting out in our bullpen, and the red hat came up a little short, didn't he? Saul.
Sauerkraut Saul, a little sour about that loss.
Yeah. Red hat didn't quite make it.
Billy Hamilton shows bunt, takes a strike. Guy wearing the red hat here is somebody you got to be concerned with. He's been on base twice with a bunt and a swinging bunt. Stole his 11th base of the season and scored a run. Now it's 0-2. Making just his 2nd major league start. Now with 2 strikes, Alvarez moves back. He wants to play into the grass for Hamilton, a switch hitter, batting lefty against the righty Pimentel.
Don't move back too far.
Now he comes back in again. It's 1-2.
Just a slow ground ball could be a base hit with this guy. You have to move in. Barmas out at shortstop right now. He's almost a double play distance. Look how far in he is with nobody on base. Gotta respect that speed.
Slap foul back to the screen. Hamilton's first major league start came against the Houston Astros. Stole 4 bases. One-two. A little poke to Barmas. He charges. Leaping throw. Didn't get him.
So you saw how far Barmas was in, how close he was in, and it still wasn't close enough. You almost have to play on the grass. The Barmas is at double play depth. Ball slapped that way. And even if that ball is picked, if it's an out call, it's only because you got him by, what, 6 inches maybe? His foot was from the bag.
I think you're right. I think you do have to play him in. I mean, slow ground ball. How else you going to get him?
He's playing it. He's playing double play depth,
right.
But that might not be far enough.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Base hit for Hamilton. I beg your pardon. Throwing error on Barmas. John Buck will be challenged. So will Stolmy Pimentel. Throws over to first. Keep Hamilton close. Four-run ball game in the 6th. John Buck gets the sign from bench coach Jeff Bannister. There goes Hamilton. No, they had the pitch out. He started and stopped. Ball to Heisey. Well, how'd you like to be the guy hitting behind Hamilton now? You're probably going to get a free ball pretty often.
I know one thing you're going to get. That's a lot of fastballs. He's not going to see an awful lot of off-speed pitches, curveballs, slow stuff.
Pimentel just holding.
That's all he was going to do. He was going to hold it until somebody called timeout. Trying to let Hamilton get out there and just get tensed up and stand.
Hamilton goes. Buck throws, and Hamilton's 12 for 12. What a weapon.
At that time, they went kind of with a quick pitch, didn't hold it long at all. I think that ball bounced. Didn't it?
Throwing from his knees.
Well, that's what I was wondering about. I think it bounced. I don't think he really had an opportunity to do much of anything. He couldn't come up on the ball because it was in the dirt. You kind of hear that double click. He just backhanded the pitch out of the dirt. It's tough to throw anybody out on the pitches that bounce up to you, but especially not somebody like Hamilton.
3-0 to Heisey. The green light, popped it up. Barnes underneath it. 1 out. Heisey's now 2 for 4. Talking to Pimentel here.
Yeah, they're talking about the signs, what they're using now that Hamilton is on second base, and also a very good possibility that Barmes reminding him of what the pickoff signs are, because they're going to have to really watch Hamilton.
It's inside the Votto. What are some of the things you can do as a pitcher to hold a runner like Hamilton at second base?
The best is the spin move. You bring that left knee of yours up, and instead of going home, you swing it around toward second. If that guy's thinking about running, now he has to wait until he's sure you're going home. He can't just run on your first move. As soon as you start to bring your leg up, he can't just take off. Once you show him that you'll do that spin move on him, that puts it in his mind that it's there, and don't take any liberties. There it is right there. I think Pimentel was a little too, I don't know. You could really read it. Look how much you see how violently he lifted that knee up. I think you can read that. But it does still put it in Hamilton's mind that, okay, if the knee comes up, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go home.
There goes Hamilton for third, and this ball is hit high in the air down the left field line. Drifting foul. Tabata will get under it. 2 men out.
You could really see the difference that time if you were watching the leg kick. See how much slower it came up, and it didn't come up as high. Watch the leg kicks. See how much different that was than his spin move. He needs to work on that spin move. He has to make the spin move look like that. That's the things that a pitching coach will be looking at. It's so different that obviously the better base runner, Steeler, they're going to be looking at that. And Hamilton, maybe he'll take little notes. I don't know. Some guys, that's what they used to do. They take notes, little notebooks. And when you see the real fast, violent leg kick, he's going to spin around. If you see it coming up slower, he's going to go home. Those are little things you can figure out about pitchers and write that stuff down.
Hamilton on for second base. Phillips at the plate. This one behind Phillips. And Phillips is barking at Dan Iasonia, home plate umpire. And now Iasonia comes out and both benches are warm. He just said, don't do it again.
Sometimes you can kind of claim it slipped. That one would be a tough one to claim.
Dusty Baker, the last couple of days, has been asked about the balls being thrown at hitters in this series, and he said, well, the Pirates and Cardinals have also had a lot of hit batsmen. The Pirates lead the league in hit batsmen and hitting opposing hitters. And he said, I'm not smart, but he said, what, figure it out. So he got a different perspective. Andrew McCutcheon got hit on Friday. Tensions rose when that occurred. One ball and one strike. I asked Clint Hurdle yesterday about McCutcheon getting hit Friday night, and he just said, it's more important to win a ball game than anything else. And you have to do what you have to do to win a ball game. These games are far too important to worry about anything else other than winning. Down to third base. And Pedro throws out Phillips. Hamilton stranded. Nothing across for Cincinnati in the sixth. Go to the bottom of the sixth. Reds 7, Pirates 3. Still upset after having the ball thrown behind him. Friday night, Andrew McCutcheon on a 2-2 pitch plunked by J.J. Hoover. And the situation of the ball game was much different. Clint got thrown out. Conversing about the subject. The Pirates would end up collapsing in the ninth, and the most disappointing loss of the season by far occurred here on Friday. Brandon Phillips not happy, and Alfredo Simon in the ball game for Bronson Arroyo.
As we figured, Arroyo would try to get through 5. He did, but didn't do it very easily, giving up those 3 runs.
2 of them on home runs.
Arroyo certainly wasn't his self control wise this afternoon. The word is he has been very sick.
Simon delivers a strike to Pedro Alvarez. Pedro's 1 for 2. Dusty Baker doesn't look very pleased. Reds up by 4 runs in the 6th inning. Unless the Pirates come back, they're in position to win this series and tie the Pirates in the standings again. Heading into the final 6 games of the regular season, and 3 more head-to-head coming up next weekend in Cincinnati.
The important thing is the St. Louis deal. I mean, that's what Pirates really have to stay focused on. That is the goal, to avoid the play-in game, the wild card game, and win this division. Got to win this game this afternoon and hope to get some help from the Brewers.
Get some help from the Brewers and the Nationals, who will play in St. Louis.
You would think you might get some
days.
help from the Nationals. The Nationals have been one of the hotter teams in baseball the last couple of weeks.
They will travel late tonight from D.C. to St. Louis and start a series tomorrow.
You got to take care of your stuff, though. Got to win. It's up the bottom line. You have to win.
Full count to Alvarez. Three balls and 2 strikes to Pedro. Alfredo Simon, right-hander, set to deliver this payoff pitch. And Pedro hits one in the air to center field, but it'll be playable for Hamilton.
It just got out on the end of the bat a little bit. Didn't get any carry. Trajectory was nice. Just didn't have anything on it.
1 down for the Pirates.
It's certainly a different type pitcher than out there now. Simon and what they were looking at. You're talking about some power fastballs. That last one 96. Arroyo, his fastball's around 87, 88.
John Buck's first plate appearance today, taking over for Russell Martin halfway through the ball game. Strike 1 to Buck. .220 in 108 games, split between the Mets and the Pirates. The majority of them with the Mets. 15 home runs. 9 of those 15 came in the month of April. John got out of the gate with an enormous start with a power stroke. Behind Alfredo Simon, no balls, 2 strikes. One and 2. John playing sparingly. Pirates using 3 catchers. Tony Sanchez still getting playing time behind Russell Martin. Sanchezing has become a new phenomenon around Pittsburgh. Even Penguins coach Dan Bilesmo was caught doing it with a goalie glove on, reaching over the boards the other night in Chicago. And Buck, ground ball left side. Frazier scoops it up. Off balance throw, retires Buck. Fans, you can own a piece of the game with the Pirates' authentic merchandise collection. You can add Pedro Alvarez game-used bat or Andrew McCutchen's game-used jersey to your personal collection, along with other game-used items like lineup cards, helmets, or bases. Go to pirates.com/authentic. Check them out. Christmas is coming. This is one of their displays here at the park. Replica of the Gold Glove trophy for McCutchen. Barmes fouls it off for strike one. No balls and one strike to Barmes.
All of them on the sweet spot. All those signatures.
0-1. Barmes chase.
Notice nowadays just about everybody puts their number next to their name. I used to not see that, and I think that's a good thing, because now you know who they are.
That's right. Can't always read the signatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Popped up and playable on foul ground for the pitcher, Simon. Second time in the last 3 innings the Pirates have gone down in order. We'll head to inning number 7 at PNC Park. It's a 4-run ball game. Thursday as the Washington Little Prexies take on the Jeanette Jayhawks. The Jayhawks look to avenge last year's loss against Wash High when the Little Prexies returned to block punt for a touchdown to win the game. The action kicks off live Thursday at 7 on Root Sports. Rooting for the Bucks this afternoon. Bucks need a comeback, down by 4 runs. Stormy Pimentel will start the top of the 7th inning. Don't know what to say about those hats. We'll see a few more of them this weekend. McCutchen turns and makes the catch on the Jay Bruce fly ball. 1 out. Bruce is now 1 for 3. Had the big hit in the first inning that cleared the bases.
You would think the Reds right now starting to get a little maybe nervous in the dugout because they're just not doing anything, not adding on to their lead. They got those 5 runs in the first and then a couple more in the second. Now they're just sitting on it. And the Pirates have come back at them a little bit, and it's unanswered. And even though it's still up there a little ways at 4 runs, you got to start thinking, we got to add one more to it. We got to get one of those runs back. It's always a bad feeling when you're in the dugout and you got the early lead and you do nothing but sit on it the rest of the game.
Mantell ahead of Frazier 0-2.
Especially a game of this magnitude, probably starting to get a little uneasy. They're uneasy in the Pirate dugout because they're down by those 4 runs. I know that they're running out of innings. Only 9 more outs to score those 4 runs they need.
Dusty Baker, just saw him. He's had success against the Pirates in his career. 144 and 11 as a manager. Frazier hits one to McCutchen. And 2 men out.
144 and 11 is
111.
Oh, 111.
Yeah, 144. Did I say 11 or 111?
I thought it was 11. I probably heard it.
I don't think he's lost only 11. I've seen him. I've personally seen him lose more than 11.
I thought maybe it was on cloudy day games or something. I don't know.
There's a strike.
Yeah, you're right though. I think he's lost more than 11.
Yeah, 111. Walter Alston had 218 wins against the Pirates as Dodger skipper, and Tony La Russa 146. Dusty's in the top 3 in terms of wins against the Pirates as a manager. I don't know where he is in losses, but I know it's not 11.
I think I guess not. They were in the other division at that time. I was thinking of Sparky Anderson with some of those great Red teams he had, but they were in the Western Division at that time. The Pirates were in the East back in those days, so they didn't play each other as much. But you have to be around a long time to put together that many wins.
Strike 3. Cozart out on strikes, and Pimentel gets him 1-2-3. 7th inning stretch at PNC Park. 7-3. Reds in front.
As we offer support to our troops here and abroad. Joining us on the field today, representing the Wounded Warrior Project, is United States Marine Corps Sergeant Mike Cranmer. Sergeant Cranmer served 2 separate tours of duty to Iraq, in the initial invasion in 2003 and for the Battle of Fallujah in 2004. While clearing a house of enemy soldiers in the Battle of Fallujah, Sergeant Cranmer was struck by an enemy grenade, causing shrapnel damage to his right leg. We are thankful and thrilled that Sergeant Cranmer is here with us today. And now here to lead us with God Bless America is Andrew Telerovich.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless
Fans, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. We invite you to follow the bouncing Eaton Park Smiley Cookie and join everyone watching.
Great shots today from the Allegheny Health Network Super Mo as we take it to the bottom of the 7th inning. Reds with a 7-3 lead. Felix Pie pinch hitting in the 9 spot for the pitcher Stolmy Pimentel.
Compton and Pimentel both excellent work. They are definitely giving the Pirates an opportunity to make a comeback that you'll be talking about for a long time if it happens in a game of this magnitude.
2 for 8 as a pinch hitter is Pie.
Got to get at least something out of this inning. See if it's just put up 1.
Pie came up on the 21st of August. Joined the team in San Diego. He wasn't on the 40-man. They're going to make room for him. Could have a solid spring and open some eyes, but spent the majority of the season in Indianapolis. Gets one down the left field line to the corner. This one is going to be caught up against the wall.
Anything that goes down toward that corner has a chance because it gets so shallow there so quickly. Right at the foul pole. It's only 325. And the wall is not very high. Super Mo, he caught that just a little underneath the ball. Morvado's ball went Friday night in the same general area. A little bit closer to the foul line. As shallow as that is down there, I'm surprised we don't see a few more balls than we do. Just nip into that corner.
Lazy fly ball to center field. Hamilton. 2 outs.
And Walker has been hot even with the home run swing. Looking for an extra base hit now with 2 outs.
2 quick outs for Alfredo Simon. Pirates running out of outs in this ballgame. Three out of 10 in the series. 2 of those 3 hits coming this afternoon. And 2 of the 3 hits home runs, solo home runs. Back to back with Tabata Friday night. in the bottom of the first inning after Cincinnati had taken a 1-0 lead. Pirates stormed back and Walker put him in front 2-1. It's the fourth time in club history they've gone back-to-back to start a game. And the second time in recent years the Pirates had done it against Cincinnati. And Tabata was involved the last time as well. McCutchen was the other. Tabata today a tough day, 1 for 3, hit by a pitch and scored a run. It's been a tough few days for Andrew McCutchen, looking to break out of an 0 for 12 skid. Well, 3-0 to Walker.
Pretty consistent, isn't it? All three, boom, 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 right there. Moved it in that time. Needed to get himself a strike, and he did.
Simon's 3-1 pitch. Ball 4 with 2 outs. Pirates have a base runner. Fans, place a deposit for your 2014 Pirates season tickets today. From full season to half of 20-game plans, there's a plan that'll fit you. Enjoy great benefits all season long of being a season ticket holder. You can place your deposit at pirates.com/deposit. That's for MVP. That's what they want. He's at the plate right now with 2 outs and a man on. Looking for his first hit today. He's 0 for 3. 1-ball count to Andrew McCutchen.
McCutchen's glad Arroyo's gone.
Yeah.
He would much rather, I think, see some 95-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Arroyo has stymied McCutchen. McCutchen has just 1 hit and 26 bats against Arroyo. Ball, 1 strike.
Like a hard either cutter or slider, depending on what the pitcher wants to call it.
Balls, 1 strike. This year with runners on base, McCutchen hitting .293. He's got Walker at first base and 2 men out. Safely in 14 of his first 19 games in September, trying to make it 15 out of 20. Two and 2.
A real hard cut fastball.
Simon's 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. Benson fighting that pitch off. Simon in his second inning of work, backing up Bronson Arroyo's 5 innings today. First 2 outs quickly. Base on balls for Neil Walker, and now McCutchen, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Pitching him away, and he could drive a truck through that right side.
Phillips
just kind of took one out there. Away, 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 and you have Phillips playing up the middle. Votto's holding on the runner. That whole side of the infield is wide open.
McCutchen will get another pitch. Battle between McCutchen and Simon. McCutchen trying to keep this inning alive.
Well, step caught him in the shin. That couldn't have felt good at all.
And McCutchen rips it in and out of the glove of Frazier. And he is out. And McCutchen is 0 for 4 today. 7 innings in the books. And the Pirates trail the Reds 7-3. Pirates trailing the Reds. John Buck behind the plate, had to replace Russell Martin. About halfway through, Martin left the game with discomfort in his left knee. Back in the 4th inning, watch the swing. A little uncomfortable, the wince. And then his last time up, grounding out, and just doesn't look comfortable at all running down to first base. So the Pirates being careful with Russell Martin, taking him out of the ball game. John Buck's been in since the 6th.
Things the catchers are always having to deal with are those knee problems. Coming in and out of that defensive position, the squat all the time. Wear and tear on that knee, so it can catch up. And it did look like on that swing, he favored it right in his backswing. And you could tell running down the line right after that. It was hurting a little bit. So let's hope that that's nothing serious.
55th appearance for Vin Mazzaro. Takes over for Stolmy. Delivers a strike to Hannigan.
Pretty solid for the Pirates. See that 2.5 ERA. About anybody that comes out of that bullpen has had a solid season. The Shark Tank.
It's been a little shaky in recent days, but all in all, has been very good. Stolmy Pimentel helped him a couple of hitless and scoreless innings, striking out 1. Brandon Compton, 3 innings of scoreless relief. After the Reds put 5 up in the first off of Jeff Locke, 2 more in the second off of Jungmar Gomez. Hannigan 0 for 5 in this series. Reds catcher. 2-ball, 2-strike count. struck him out. Hockey season is just a week away. You can see your Pens back in action Wednesday for the team's final preseason game. Tune in to see the Pens take on the Detroit Red Wings live from Joe Louis Arena. Wednesday starting at 7 on Root Sports. A tune-up for the Penguins. Derek Robinson will pinch hit in the 9 spot for Cincinnati. Strike 1 to Robinson. Started in center field last night. Robinson went 0 for 4, struck out twice. Just past the mound. Walker to backhand. Quick throw. Got him.
Normal over second base. You got a little time, but Walker had to almost turn that like it was a double play. To go to the quick release. Close. Half a step.
Allegheny Health Network Supermo slowing it down for us. Well, Billy Hamilton has been on base 3 times out of 4, twice via the hit, once reaching on an error, stolen 2 bases, and scored 1 run. And lines one into left center field, and he will head for second base. McCutcheon guns it to the bag for a little offline, and Hamilton in with a double.
That's some impressive stuff. A little flare like that, it really turns out to be a fairly easy double. You know, I think the question is, will he be able to hit enough to be an everyday big leaguer? With that speed, he doesn't have to do a whole lot with the bat, though, to get hits. He's going to get a ton of infield hits, little swinging bunts, and then the fielders, the infielders, the third baseman, the shortstop, everybody has to come in so close to guard against the speed, the slow ground ball. Now that cuts down on the range, and it's easier for him to find holes in the infield. So if he can avoid strikeouts and just get balls put in play, looks like Reds may have a player on their hands for the future.
And when you have a guy like that, with that speed weapon that he possesses, what does it do for the infielders and the catcher especially? But does it seem like there's more tension, more alertness because that particular player's on base?
Well, they have, obviously they have to pay a ton of attention to him. You have to, if there's nobody out or one out, you got to mess with him out at second base so he won't get into third, which opens up things for hitters. It changes the whole deal for the infield.
Ben Hurdle felt it in the 6th. Clint Barmas, beg your pardon, felt that in the 6th inning.
That was an awfully tough error. I mean, before he gets on base, as I said before, the infield has to come out of position, move way in, even when he's just standing at the plate.
Strike 2 to Chris Heisey.
Now, he's not the only guy in baseball that is like that. I mean, this is how you have to play against all guys with that premier speed, especially when they're hitting left-handed.
Hamilton off of second base, 2 outs, 2-2 pitch. And a ground ball up the middle. This is going to get Hamilton home. It's now 8-3.
Now that's what the Reds have been looking for, just any kind of an add-on to kill whatever momentum the Pirates might have been able to put together. And this is it.
2 outs and 2 strikes, and Heisey hits one up the middle. And Hamilton even cleans up the bat.
He was halfway between third and home before the ball even got out to Kutch. He can scoot.
Joey Votto is swinging a miss. Allegheny Health Network Supermo focusing on the feet of Hamilton.
Supermo can even slow down Hamilton. That's impressive. Right on that inside corner, so they can push off.
Votto to left field. And down to the corner it goes. Heisey's going to run. It is now 9-3. A 2-out double. Pair of 2-out runs for the Reds.
Votto was so good at using the whole field. Very patient. He wants his pitch. He'll hit it pretty much chalk line to chalk line. Won't pull many fastballs. He'll pull your off-speed stuff out to right field. Hit your fastballs the other direction.
Brandon Phillips grounded out to third last time up in the 6th inning. 1 for 2. He walked and scored, sacrificed to center field and drove in a run. He will not face Vin Mazzaro. When Hurdle gets the ball from Mazzaro, Jared Hughes coming on when we come back. The Pirates' magic number to clinch a playoff spot is now down to 2. And if Miami wins the nightcap, it would be shaved to 1. So the Nationals losing today. Miami helping out the Bucks. Jared Hughes now will face Brandon Phillips with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. 2 runs in, all on 2 outs. 2-out hits, 3 in a row. Hamilton, Heisey, and Votto. Hamilton and Votto with doubles. Hughes and Phillips, bit of a history. And Phillips takes all the way for strike 1. balls and 1 strike. Phillips, last time he was up, was upset when Stolmy Pimentel threw behind him. That caused home plate umpire Dan Iasonia to warn both benches. And of course, warning Pimentel, who was out on the hill at the time. 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball and 2 strikes to Phillips. One, 2 to Phillips. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jared Hughes getting some work in here. Been a very, very tough day today, the way it started out. Brandon Compton and Stolmy Pimentel pitched 5 scoreless innings until Mazzaro has given up 2 here in the 8th. And that one is ripped into left field, a base hit. And being held is Votto at third base. Brandon Phillips with his 2nd hit. 4 straight hits by the Reds with 2 outs in the 8th. This was the final home date this year, so we've got some numbers for you. Today's attendance, 23rd sellout of the season, 38,699. It's the 2nd highest 3-date series, as the Pirates sold out all 3 of these games. 2nd highest 3-date series in PNC Park history. 116,064 fans came this weekend to see the Bucks and Reds. Pirates drew 2.2 million fans this season. 2,256,862. 2nd highest total ever, behind the opening season of 2001. Made it in the car on the way.
Don't judge.
1-0 to Jay Bruce. John Buck will go out and talk to Hughes as he falls behind the Cincinnati right fielder. 2 balls and no strikes. St. Louis and Milwaukee to play tonight. Pirates could use some help from the Brewers. Cardinals have won each of the first 2 games of that series, coming from behind and then winning in extra innings on Friday night. Winning again last night.
At least 1 step closer to a wild card. So maybe the silver lining of the day.
3 balls and no strikes to Jay Bruce.
And maybe by the end of the night it'll be 2 steps closer.
By the time we find out, we'll be settled in Chicago.
So if the Marlins can sweep that doubleheader.
Jared Hughes with a 3-ball 1-strike count to Jay Bruce. He goes to left field. Tabata after it, and it's going to drop for a hit. Votto will score. It's 10-3. That run charged to Mazzaro. Mazzaro will end up giving up 3 earned runs, all with 2 outs.
Put that ball well outside. Just a little flare off the end of the bat. Tabata playing him over that way, but couldn't quite close the gap in time.
Jay Bruce now with 107 RBIs. That's 2nd in the National League. He's passed Freddie Freeman of Atlanta today. Got 4 RBIs in this game. But he still trails Arizona's Paul Goldschmidt, who is primed to win the RBI title. 122 for Goldschmidt of Arizona. They're just underway in Colorado with the Rockies. 2 on, 2 out. Frazier breaks his bat, rolls it to Barnes. He'll throw the first to get him. 3 more runs in, 4 more hits. 10-3 Reds.
Nominated for another award before the game. This time, the inaugural Bob Feller Act of Valor Award was created by the Cleveland Indians in conjunction with the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. It's 5 players throughout baseball. Morneau, one of the 5, along with servicemen and women from the United States Navy, were nominated. They represent the dignity, integrity shown by Bob Feller himself, and a player later on this year will be awarded the inaugural Bob Feller Act of Valor Award. And of course, you know, Bob Feller served our country and also came back to baseball and had a Hall of Fame career. So Justin Morneau, I think Pirate fans are starting to see what kind of human being he is, in addition to putting one heck of a resume together for his baseball career, Tim.
He'll get a solid resume, that's for sure. He'll face a lefty, Manny Parra, to start the bottom of the 8th inning. Derek Robinson remains on in left field for Cincinnati. 1 ball and no strikes to Justin Morneau. Parra takes over for Simon, who went 2 scoreless innings. 54th appearance for Parra. Up in the air to shallow right, backpedaling is Phillips. And then Phillips will make the catch. 1 out, the Pirates' 8th. Mustard on that one.
Well, that must have been a heavy baseball. See how it took his glove down? There's some guys throw a heavy ball. I think that Morneau might hit a heavy ball. The way it took his glove down like that.
Bob's sarcasm showing up again.
No, that's a heavy ball.
You think it's a heavy ball?
Yeah.
You don't think it weighs the same as every other ball?
Well, obviously not. It almost took the glove to the ground. That's a heavy ball. I think we should show it again.
Well, last night, Phillips trying to do it his own way and cost the Reds early in the ball game. Ball up the middle that the shortstop Cozart was going to field right behind him. He decided to barehand it. Now Bird lines one right to Bruce for out number 2.
See how light that ball is that Bird hits?
I see. Maybe because of the distance it travels, the weight changes and it gets lighter.
Could be, I don't know. So watch how this one just
like a feather.
Yeah,
light as a feather.
Like it didn't weigh anything. Like it just weighed ounces.
Now Tabata got himself an infield hit last night when Cozart would have probably thrown him out by a step or two, and Phillips cut in front of Cozart, tried to barehand it and throw, and Tabata ended up beating it out. Sometimes Phillips makes the flashy play and it looks great. He is a good defensive second baseman, but sometimes he'll try to do things and it ends up hurting the Reds. Nothing in 2 to Pedro. Alvarez average at 230 right now. Pedro with a hit in the second inning. He's going 0 for 2 since, grounding out to Votto at first base and then flying out to center in the 6th. Down on strikes goes Alvarez. Parra pitches a perfect 8. We'll go to the 9th inning. 10-3 Reds. At PNC Park with Bob Walk and Robbie Ince-Mikowski and Tim Everett. Glad you are sticking with us here for our final home telecast and our home crew, Billy Murillo, who we see both in the booth and behind home plate up high. Joe Magno. Hey, Joe. Danny Corso. Danny's figured out which end to look into today, he told me. There's Troy Taffel, also known as Mount Troy, up on top of the batter's eye in center field. Paul Rambo. And Rico's working on the visiting show. He's the dancing cameraman that you see sometimes on the big screen here. Started to. And that is our RoboCam. You can't see him, but Rick Beatty runs that camera. Andrew McCutchen being taken out of the ball game. Clint Hurdle letting him go out and then replacing him so that he can get a round of applause here from this sellout crowd.
Well deserved. I know that this is kind of a disappointing day. Kutch didn't want to go off the field this afternoon in that fashion. He wanted to jump with his fellow outfielders out beyond second base. But it's not looking good right now.
touch him. That's his day finished. Marte out there in center field now.
Turn the lights on here soon, aren't they?
Yeah, it's getting a little dark.
Yeah, the clouds are moving in. It's gotten a lot darker just in the last 10-15 minutes, it seems like. Marte playing center field now.
3 balls and 1 strike to Zach Cozart. Over in right field, Josh Harrison and Marlon Byrd in the dugout. And a strike. Count is full, 3-2. Payoff pitch from Hughes. Ripped to left. 15th hit for the Reds, and it is a double for Zach Cozart. Hits keep coming for Cincinnati. So now the way things look, Bob, the Reds are going to tie the Pirates in the standings for second place again. Pirates will play Chicago tomorrow. 8:05 Eastern time start from Wrigley Field. 2 night games and then a day game at Wrigley. Charlie Morton will face Jeff Samardzija tomorrow night in the opener with Chicago. The Cubs trying to play the role of spoilers while the Pirates have to go on the road and win now the rest of the way. That's a fair ball. And Pedro throws out Hannigan.
Nothing to do now but look toward Milwaukee. Hope you can get some help from the Brewers and keep you in this thing. As if St. Louis wins, Pirates fall 3 back with just 6 to play. I mean, it's not impossible, obviously, but that's starting to look really, really tough.
Eric Robinson up. Bounced out to Neil Walker in the 8th inning. A different kind of day to pack for a road trip, Bob, because we don't know exactly when we're coming back. It's a good problem to have. Hasn't been the case here for quite some time. Pirates could have that 3rd spot. There is a possibility. Hope not. But if they do, they'll stay in Cincinnati and play a wild card game there. And then if they would win, go straight out to LA for the divisional series. So you've got to pack in case not coming home for a bit. The Pirates come in second. Wild card game would be here. So we're all hoping we don't use all that much out of our suitcases. Want to come back sooner than later. Playoffs on the way. 6 more games after today. And those last 6 will determine who will be the Central Division champion and who will be in the wild card game. Ball and 2 strikes to Derek Robinson on the left field for Cincinnati. Cozart, the runner at second base. Double for him, his 28th of the year. And a ground ball toward the middle. Walker dives. It's beyond his reach into center field. Cozart's going to score, and the Reds add another.
They won't take their foot off the accelerator, will they?
The Reds have put a hurting on the Pirates pitching staff today.
You can hear on our crowd mic down there. I mean, they are still very fired up with every single run they're scoring. It's like a little vendetta going, hey? They want to rub it in our face.
Billy Hamilton back up there. He's got 3 hits today. He's reached on an error and grounded out. 2 stolen bases, 2 runs scored. Fouls this one off. Each time he's had a start, he's had multiples and hits and stolen bases.
It's just twice.
That's right. But the numbers don't lie.
Every time he's made a start.
Every time, both times. But you got to think, we talked about it earlier, if he can hit with any consistency, that the Reds have to find a spot for him.
Yeah, it'll be next year. Anytime Chu is healthy, he's got to be out there. I don't know what the deal is with his thumb.
Hamilton tries to top it off for the second out.
He has had just an incredible year for the Reds. All we've heard is he has a sore thumb.
Yeah, we didn't hear that he has thumb discomfort.
He has, what was it, like a 425 on base percentage as a leadoff hitter? I mean, that's phenomenal. Plus, he has power. He can hit home runs. Huge year and a big part of the Reds' success.
Neftali Soto gets to pinch hit here late in the ball game.
There he is.
21 home runs for him as a leadoff man.
I think he's a free agent for this coming. I shouldn't say that. I don't know that for a fact.
He popped up to Neil Walker. Pirates will have one more at bat today. 11-3. Going to the bottom of the ninth. Kind of fell apart early in the ball game, and the Pirates unable to recover now as we head to the bottom of the ninth inning. 11-3 Cincinnati. Some of our guys who work hard all season long. Terry Kissel runs the RF camera. He's the guy that floats around the stadium, sees the fans. There's Maul, Rick Rhodes. He's got the Allegheny Health Network Super Maul. He's the guy who slows it down for you at home. Dale Nadio, you don't see him. That's not him behind that. That's one of the ushers, but he runs that robo. And a week from today, we'll have our final Root Sports telecast of the season for the Pirates. And a special end of the year video will thank all of our crew members who worked on Pirates baseball all season long. John Buck leads off. And he hits one in the air down the right field side. That one drifting toward the seats. And a foul ball for Buck. Strike one. Logan Andrusek has some mop-up duty today for Cincinnati.
Trying to get the last ones. Number 49 for him.
0-1 pitch in the dirt. Well, all the guys who work on, guys and girls, men and women who work on our crew all season long. We appreciate your help and your hard work. Bring the great pictures and sounds back to our growing audience on Root Sports. A much larger audience this year than last. And last year, a much larger audience than the year before. So it continues to grow every year. There's Dave Nichols, responsible for some of the sounds.
He's also the sergeant at arms.
Yep. He protects.
He's Robbie's bodyguard.
Robbie is not worried. He's never nervous with Dave around. That's why Robbie never leaves that perch over there. He's got built-in bodyguard. No, he does leave occasionally. He likes it when Dave goes with him. Ondrusek delivering the payoff pitch to John Buck. Struck him out. One down in the bottom of the ninth. And John Buck came in for Russell Martin in the sixth. Martin with discomfort in his left knee. Van Hurdle got him out of there and Buck in. But Barmas now will face Ondrusek. And the pitch to Barmas. That's in for a strike. Jeff Karsten's in the dugout today. Good to see Jeff. Still on a 60-day disabled list. And for it, Michael McHenry off the crutches after knee surgery. 0-2 pitch to Barmas. And strike three called, and now the Cincinnati Reds have a new club strikeout record for a single season, 1,249. Pirates down to their final out. We're number 81 at home.
They end up with 50 wins. It's a pretty nice number here at PNC Park.
Well, the last guy to hit perhaps Garrett Jones, unless he can extend the inning. 2 outs. Jones a .234 average, 14 home runs, and 50 runs batted in, 111 as a pinch hitter. Ondrusek delivering 1-0. And Jones pops it up, and this will do it. Hamilton underneath it. And the Cincinnati Reds will take this series 2-1. They're now tied again with the Pirates for second place in the National League Central Division standings. Reds win their 89th game, 89 and 67. The Pirates go to 89 and 67. The Reds will now play the Mets for 3 before hosting the Pirates next weekend. The Bucks play Chicago before going to Cincinnati. And things look like they may come right down to the last series, perhaps even the last day of the regular season next Sunday.
Yeah, the Pirates are going to need some help. It's just simple as that. The Cardinals have to start losing a few games, and now the Pirates, it's just absolutely imperative that they get on a winning streak. You got to think about going into Chicago and definitely sweeping that series, and then going to Cincinnati and doing some heavy damage. And like we were talking just last inning, you have the Washington Nationals going up against the Cardinals. The Nationals have been playing extremely well, so you're hopeful that they'll help you out and give those Cardinals a few losses. But Pirates have to win. It's a little bit of a disappointment this weekend for sure.
Fan Appreciation Day, the last day of the regular season, and the Pirates literally giving their shirts off their backs to fans who will win those coming up. As the Pirates all game long have been giving out prizes to fans, showing their appreciation for their great support. The Pirates drew more than 2.2 million fans, the second largest attendance ever at PNC Park, other than the opening season in 2001. Fan support has been absolutely terrific, and the Pirates hoping they can reward the fans again with postseason action here at PNC Park. 11-3 the final score. Reds beat the Pirates today. Let's check in now with Rob King and Kent Jacoby.
Tim and Bob, thanks very much. And so it goes. You would have liked the storybook ending. And more importantly, Teak, as far as wins and losses go, you would have liked to have been 9-7 against the Reds this season, because in case you have a wild card game, you'd like to be able to host it now. If it does come down to a wild card scenario, the Pirates will have to take 2 out of 3 against the Reds, assuming those are the two teams that would be going at it in the wild card.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's you think about a lot of different things. Still, the number one priority, obviously, is keep your eye on the St. Louis Cardinals. But you also start worrying about positioning for wild card. The Reds, if you are in a wild card game, are almost 99-100% chance of being the opponent. So, would you rather play them in their very friendly hitters ballpark, the Great American Ballpark, or would you rather play them here at PNC Park, where you have the advantage and where you have obviously your pitchers know how to pitch, your hitters understand the ballpark, and by the way, you have all your home fans right there with you.
And nice to see those home fans sticking around here. Tim was talking about it. Second largest attendance ever at PNC Park for the Pirates, going back only to their opening year in 2001 here when they debuted this ballpark. You see the fans sticking around to help celebrate, take the shirt off the back day. Of course, those are drawn out, but other fans just, I don't think they want to leave, Teak. It's been such a fun summer of baseball that I just think that they want to hang around one more time, and they're hoping, obviously, to see playoff baseball here as well. But, good to see the fans enjoy themselves so much, and the Pirates give them reason to cheer with an excellent season of baseball.
And, Rob, this day for the last 20 years has been goodbye, I'll see you in the spring. That's not necessarily the case right now. The Pirates, obviously, with more on their plate, a whole lot of more entertainment hopefully coming these fans' way during the postseason. The Pirates can get there, can make a little splash there, and just, remember, just a couple of years ago, the St. Louis Cardinals won the Central Division. This one, Central, was the worst division in baseball. Won the Central Division by being one game over 500, and then turned around and won the World Series. So, those kind of things can happen in the postseason. So, yes, the fans are disappointed today. I'm sure the players are disappointed, particularly the way the game went. But there is still more on the horizon for the Pittsburgh Pirates and Pirate fans.
And you can see there's Starling Marte and some other guys. Looks like Jared Hughes there signing an autograph. It's nice to see, the interaction here between the fans and the players. And again, they've given so much for the city to be excited about. Teak, we walked around so often on a day like today. People would be far more concerned with the game that's going on at Heinz Field. Obviously, this is still a great Steeler town. We know that. Yeah. Still a great Penguin town. But now the Pirates have joined that group as well. This has once again become a great baseball town.
Yeah, up until a couple of years ago for sure, and possibly even up till this year, this was a town of two teams. And oh, by the way, it's no longer. It's a town of three teams now, and these people are, number one, very supportive of all three, and they have come back with a vengeance to support this Pittsburgh Pirate baseball team this summer. You could see a little hesitancy the first couple months of the season until everybody finally said, you know what, these guys are good. These guys can do this. And since then, they've jumped right on the players' backs. They've rode the emotion with them, and the players have also jumped on the fans' backs. It's been a real good combination for everybody, the players, the fans, and as I said before, it's not done yet.
And I know for you personally, Teak, you look at 2 decades of Pirates dominance.